Hey people, what's good? Mount Lethe Hellfire. Today I have the second part of the two-part series on the Surefire Can deep dive. It's not the most comprehensive, only because I don't have every single Surefire SOCOM device with me. Most notably missing are the minis and a SOCOM 762 RC2 Ti, the titanium one, and some other oddballs. Maybe I'll acquire them down the road, who knows. Today will be a little less yapping and a bit more showing. So I'll have live footage of all these cans with these various weapons. The ammo that I use today is made by Federal. I believe they package it as American Frontier or something like that, but it's just Federal, Lake City brass, M193, your typical 3,000 and 3,100 foot per second. One of the higher pressure 5.56 loads just to make the cans kind of work for it. So that's the first caveat, is that 5.56 is loud and you're not going to make it quiet unless you shoot subsonic. Second caveat that I normally give is that this is recorded on a cell phone microphone. Not that it would make a difference if I use one of those fancy shotgun mics on a DSLR. That's because, consumer grade microphones are not sensitive enough to pick up very low or very high decibel ranges. I'm talking, 140 and above. Even the most sensitive scientific $10,000 plus equipment, or maybe even $100,000, I don't know, will only pick up something as loud as I think 153 decibels, as of a paper I was reading back in, the paper was authored in 2019, I believe, or maybe 2022. Now, I only bring up that point because it's not going to be the highest fidelity or best representation of sound. However, given the fact that I'm shooting all these cans on the same day with the same guns, the same host, the same ammo, and the same conditions, it should be enough of a difference for you to somewhat tell. But trust me, it's nothing like actually hearing it in person. And also, sound's a product of pressure. There's a physical component to it. A microphone is not going to pick that up. It's a condenser mic, meaning that it condenses the sound or mushes it together. It otherwise normalizes it. That's just to, my due diligence, I guess, or my due care on your part to let you know that, hey, it might actually sound better in person, and most of them do actually, versus over the camera. Today it was, 70 degrees, not very humid, and a cloud in the sky, beautiful day here in eastern Pennsylvania. I was shooting undercover, right? So corrugated steel or aluminum with a wooden substructure, and then behind me were actual, thick concrete blocks that they used as a retaining wall. So there is a little bit of reflectivity as well. If I would have filmed this in a wide open field, which, hopefully one day, God willing, sell the business and buy myself some nice property, build my nice little range, or big range rather, and maybe get better microphones. But that's that. As far as the gunshot, same thing that we covered in part one. So B&T SRBS-762, this is kind of the oddball out. I only did it because it has a Surefire compatible collar, and they do have 5.56 options. Surefire SOCOM 762 RC2, Surefire SOCOM 300 SPS, Surefire SOCOM 5.56 SB2, Surefire SOCOM 5.56 RC2, Surefire SOCOM 5.56 RC3. And then as far as the hosts, this is my FBI SWAT clone thing going on. 11.5 Colt heavy barrel. The next is this, a 14.5 URGI near clone from Geisley, the one they sell. I guess it's a Daniel Defense SOCOM profile barrel. And then lastly, my Mark 12 Mod 3 project, 18-inch Centurion SPR, so Mark 12 Mod 1, Mod 0 profile. Anyway, folks, the rest of the video will just be shooting, and then I'll have a small little outro section, couple minutes, just to talk about what my new opinion is about the better cans. I, of course, don't have a definitive answer still. And then my normal kind of outro, if you listen to those, that sound a lot more somber than they should be.
You're not used to metal. You hit the trigger, and here you gotta go to your right. Right. Just go to the right. You jump into the house, you go where you're shooting now. Just gotta go to the right. Somebody can hit somebody there.
Sucks.
I'm about to get my hands on one of them too. Russian. 1943. Hand off the trigger.
Hey folks, hope you found that live fire, quote unquote, portion of the video informative, elucidating, or somewhat entertaining while you're passing time, taking a crap at work or in bed. Whatever it is, thanks for watching. As far as the outro, last thoughts are concerned, I didn't do a good job of answering which one I had to get if you put a gun to my head as far as these go, because there's just too much that goes into it. Barrel length, what kind of ammo are you going to shoot? Is it even 5.56? Are you shooting something else like a Valkyrie, or are you going up to like 30 cal or whatnot? But I think the majority of the population who get Surefire cans, or at least cans compatible with the Surefire ecosystem, are probably getting, a Surefire SOCOM 5.56 series, but they might also get an SRBS. I will say now, having shot this, even with the 5.56, which I'm not talking about the sound, but like the leaking of the mount. I mentioned that I didn't really like the mount design. I didn't think it locked up as tightly as a real Surefire collar. I don't like the little skinny tab of metal that you have to depress to get the freaking thing off. Even though it doesn't matter if it was a dedicated host, but for me, I like removing the cans and actually cleaning them, even though you don't really need to. But when I had my hand out front, it's not super spicy, but I definitely felt a lot of like back pressure coming back next to the can. Like it kind of stung my hand, like that bad, but it's noticeable compared to shooting other Surefire cans, right? So maybe I didn't have it on tight enough, but I doubt that. Like it was happening less so with the 14.5 and 18-inch barrels on the Mark 12 Mod 3 and on the URGI, but I still noticed it a bit. And the tone and the sound quality, I don't have another flow through 30 cal can, so maybe I'm just not used to it. But RC3 compared to RC2 is not as loud as an SRBS-762 compared to a 30 cal. And again, yeah, I know it's not a 30 cal can. I will probably still get an SRBS 5.56 at some point just to test it out. But if I would still go with the RC3, all right, that'd be my decision. Yeah, I get it. These are expensive. They're overpriced. I am totally cognizant of the fact that this is not for us, all right? This is designed for the government, by the government. The R&D, the supply chain, all the money that goes into 3D printing, from compliance to finding a shop, centered together, however you want to say that, and then you have to pay a VIG on top of the shop, or even if you owned your own machines with the technicians and you amortize the cost, there's a lot of money per unit that goes into it that you have to, amortize your costs over, right? So that's why the map is as high as it is. The $1,800 map is crazy. $1,700, that's what I got mine for with a 200 off deal. So essentially $1,500 plus a tax stamp from Capital Armory. And, that's an overpay, but I enjoy this cane. I shoot it a lot. So much that I've stained multiple things on top of it, right? I think the health benefits that you get from not having all that gas back in your face is great. I have less gas in my face with the RC3 than I do with the SRBS-762, right? And again, it's a 762 can, but you would think it would perform even better as far in the gas department, but the RC3 outshined it, even though it was almost twice the amount, right? Now, if money is an issue, which, hey, I totally get it, guys. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't have access to stuff like this, but I'm not trying to be like an elitist dick about everything, right? Like, I get it. I review expensive shit on the channel. That's not who I am. I'd rather just have these 3 than like 20 cheaper cans, right? So I still say RC3. 1,500, these are what they're getting down to. I still think that's a bit of an overpay, fully aware of everything that goes into it. I think we will likely not see them at RC2 prices, at least not until an RC4 comes out, if we're even alive for that, to be honest. But now, having shot the SP2, I totally understand what Fort Knox podcast is talking about. Totally understand what another commenter in the part 1 video is talking about. Like, hey, I don't get gassed out. I have this shit on my 10.3 all day, every day. It's not the same level as the RC3 or even the 30 cal cans, but it's a big difference gas-wise than the RC2. The sound quality, I really couldn't pick up on it. Maybe it's a little bit louder, but I don't know. I think that will depend on barrel length and whatnot, but the peace of mind this gives you with the slightly bigger bore, with slightly less back pressure, slightly less acceleration and wear on your parts, and also it accounts for stupid short barrels like your 10.3s, 9.5s, 7.5s from PSA, shooting them on like a 10.4 PS90 SBR like I have. That's what the intended host is for this one and whatnot. I think it's fantastic for the money, and if they're both in stock and the RC2 and SP2, get the SP2 all day, every day, twice on Sunday for sure. So that's all I had for you folks. You know, I know maybe it's disappointing to hear that I still like the RC3. If you had a 30 cal, 300 SPS for sure. The tone is a lot better, honestly, with a little bit of higher back pressure, right? So there is that. And not really in love with this, but I'll re-review it once I get even more rounds down range and have a better comparison on my SR25E2 PR. As always, folks, please take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, check in with people. Shit's hard out there. I feel like every video I'm saying it gets worse every day. And yeah, I mean, relatively it does, but that doesn't mean it can't get better, and I think it will get better. I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye. Mount Latte Hellfire.